We're here with the 1992 Wimbledon champion, Andre Agassi. Welcome back to Wimbledon. I think this is a trip you enjoy doing when you can get it into your schedule.
No doubt. I look for any excuse to come back. Even though I'm a member here at the club, I'm not always in the neighborhood. But it's also nice to be here without the stress or drama of playing, where you can just take in the environment, enjoy the day of tennis, and it's really fun.
Yeah, you're switching sides. You could be a fan of tennis, which is much different than the stress of actually playing the game.
Yeah,
right?
Or the pressure of coaching, right? So in both cases, it's just nice because you just see it for what it is, and you realize what it means to the sport and what it's meant to your career.
Okay, well, Andre's here on behalf of our friends at Lavazza. We were just chatting. You are a coffee fan. You have it each morning. How do you take your coffee, Andre?
You know what? I don't mind starting my day with about 4 espressos.
Do you?
Just to make sure that, everything's kind of working and I'm ready for the day. But an afternoon coffee comes in really handy. And depending on the weather time, sometimes I go ice or cappuccino style. But that 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock coffee seems to get me through the day.
Yeah, no, me too. I don't start with a 4-shot though. That's a pretty powerful morning drink.
It is, but I tend to burn hard. So I use that energy productively, and I had a lot of fun over the years.
Well, welcome to all of our friends who are watching on Facebook Live. Andre, I feel like in a way you kind of pioneered the careers that we're seeing now with Roger Federer still sticking around into his late 30s. You did so through your mid-30s. But these guys, a long time ago, generations past, 30 years old meant perhaps walk away from the game. But now these careers are extended. We see Rafa, Djokovic, these guys playing into their 30s. What is that? Is that a change in how they train physically, mentally, the tennis game, the technology? Where's that change?
Well, I think there's a lot of change in the science of their training, no doubt. I think if there's anything that they maybe would have learned from what I did, at least during the time I played, is I was always willing to invest in myself. I never felt obligation to get on the hamster wheel, and you can see Roger take seasons off now and just doing anything he can to make sure that every time he's out in the court, he's always feeling his best. So, guys are smarter. They train smarter. They're experiencing success later. We're not seeing any more 19-year-old, Wimbledon champions.
Andres.
They're winning later and they're playing later. So it's a good sign. Everybody's getting smarter.
Yeah, how does that change the sport, just overall? Or does it, the age difference?
Well, I think it does, because, when you find people at their best later on in their life with more maturity and more experience, the standard improves. It's one thing to play a great 2 weeks of tennis at 20 years old, but if you're doing that at 32, you're not only playing great tennis, you're playing great smart tennis.
Okay, now you mentioned not being back here as a coach. You were working with Novak Djokovic, obviously. That was a year ago. Would you consider getting back into coaching, and how was that experience for you overall, Andre?
Well, no regrets overall. I enjoyed a different side of the game. I think that him being healthy is the most number one issue he's dealing with, and it looks like he finally is. The 9 months I was with him, there was never 2 days in a row where he was. Which is frustrating because he has his own process. It's his body, and you understand it, But you pray for his health, which it seemed like last week there is. So the experience taught me that there's not only a lot you need to learn in coaching, but there's also some things you have to accept, that somebody's going to go about it at their own rhythm and pace. And I thought a little bit could go a long ways, and hopefully some things were learned. But at the end of the day, we kind of found ourselves both wanting our hands on the wheel a little too strong, I think.
Yeah. And if you felt like the right partnership came up with someone else?
If I could help, I love people learning in 10 minutes what I've learned in 10 years, It's, especially if they're coachable and they're anxious to hear it. And I would never hesitate, taking phone calls or finding ways to stay connected to the game.
So Martina Navratilova has written a column saying that she thinks we're going to get a Rafa-Roger final. Do you think that could happen, or who are you sort of seeing in form right now on the grass court?
Yeah, I love her optimism, because that'd be a win for everybody. And I think she's right in the sense that Roger's a fair prediction always here until he proves otherwise. Rafa is the one you would say, is that a stretch? Not really, because he's coming off a lot of confidence. The weather is really playing into his hands. and getting through the first week with his draw is going to be crucial because he's one of those guys that gets better the more he plays deeper into a tournament. And I could see with the ball flying around and jumping around on a harder surface with this weather, that's a possibility.
Are there other players you have your eye on? I think a few people looking at Queen's champion Marin Cilic, who was a finalist here last year, as perhaps being an outside threat.
He's always been outside threat. He's been in a number of finals here, other places. He'd have to get through Roger. Roger, has such versatility that he can make a big man sometimes look a little awkward, But he has the power to hit through anybody on any given day. If it stays breezy, that makes it more precarious for him. Raonic is a guy that can just power his way into the quarters, and then if the right situation happened, he's proven he can be in the finals here on a couple occasions. So, you do got a few. If Novak finds his game and form, and he finds himself playing Rafa in the semis, there's going to be a lot of memories kicking back in. He won't soon forget how to be a champion, I assure you that.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how the men's tournament shapes out as it goes. Now, this place has changed a lot in 26 years, but the feeling that you get coming back as a former champion and all the memories, but also the new modern Wimbledon, it's a new place, but it keeps that historic feeling to it, too.
Yeah, they've walked a fine line between the changes and the upgrades, yet keeping that culture, that tradition, that sense of heritage. I mean, it's a lot like Lavazza. I mean, a family-owned business for a lot of years, and I've really seen so many similarities, and their involvement with the game means a great deal, which is why I'm enjoying being involved with them so much. One of the reasons, but I don't get a luxury like I do now of kind of walking around the grounds. Like I can kind of throw on a hat and people are.
Can you?
Yeah, people are just busy watching.
Incognito.
Kind of, relatively,
nice.
I can't hang out for too long, but nevertheless, it is fun to see it through the lens of all these fans, and just another opportunity for me to appreciate, what this event offers sports.
Well, and from what I know from talking to a lot of the Brits here, they have an adoration for you like no other. I mean, you really connected with the British public. I think they really appreciated the way that you threw your heart and soul out there on the court.
Yeah, they appreciated me, being willing to suffer openly, and I definitely did and put them through some of it, but we had some good moments as well.
Okay, lastly, before I let you go, who's your tip to take the men's title this year, Andre?
I mean, listen, I'm from Vegas, so I play the odds. I'm sticking with Raj.
You're a smart guy.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much for hanging out with us here at the Lavazza Lounge. 1992 champion Andre Agassi. Thanks, Andre.
Pleasure. Thank you.